Tea.
Time is exactly 8:27 a.m. This is news and views right here on Solar Media. Now, every now and again, at least once a month, we here at Solar Media are very privileged to be sharing a part of our history with you, our esteemed listeners. And this is only possible by the grace of our dear friend, Dr. Tshepo Moloi. He is a postdoctoral research fellow at the Johannesburg Institute of Advanced Study. And over the past while, he's been bringing us amazing historical facts and histories of forgotten heroes of the struggle. And Alhamdulillah, he's here once again to talk to us about Lilian Diedrick. Assalamu alaikum to you, Dr. Tshepo Moloi. Welcome to the program, and we do thank you for your valuable time and the valuable historical insights that you share with us.
Assalamu alaikum to you, Julie, and the rest of the listeners.
And today, in our history lesson, we'll be remembering another great struggle icon, and she is Lilian Diedrick. She's one of the women who marched to the Union buildings in the 1950s. What else can you tell us about her?
So, thank you very much once more to Salah Media for the opportunity. So today, if you look right throughout, she's trending. Mom Lilian Diedrick is trending on almost all the social media, EMCA, Sarah Live, Rebecca News, SATC. She has just passed away yesterday.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
At 2:30 at her home in Quebec, and she was surrounded by family as she passed away as they were praying for her. So people want to know what was her cause of death. She simply complained about being tired. Now, she was born in 1925 on the 17th of December and passes away yesterday. So that tells you she was 96 years old.
Sure.
So condolences to her family and all her loved ones. And this is the reason today that I chose to speak about her in today's session. She passes away, and it's almost like many people are hearing her for the first time or about her.
Sadly, yes.
You know, and this is what I was saying last week about we suffer from being ahistorical. We suffer from historical amnesia in our social history in South Africa. Now, quickly, just about her. She basically she's born in New Brighton Township in what was called the Red Location. And basically, they were forced, because of the forced removal, they were forced to move away, because they condoned that area as black zone. And so, because of the group areas, they were moved. And the only formal education ended in standard 3, which today we'll say is grade 5. And she went on to become basically a shop steward. She was influenced by the SACP, in Port Elizabeth. And one amongst the stalwarts that are celebrated in the African National Congress was Raymond Mhlaba. When Ntate Raymond was arrested to Robben Island, she basically would take over and, played mother to a lot of the children whose parents were basically arrested by the special branch. And Raymond Mhlaba's son was one of those kids. Now, what is sad, because I can't say everything, but what is sad is that she is one of the 5 foremost women leaders that led the 1956 Women's March to the Union building.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the 5. So who are the other 4? The other 4 is Helen Joseph, Lilian Roy, Sophie de Brain, and Rahima Musa.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this important? This is important because when they led the march to the Union building, it came after a conference that that now we would call, the inaugural conference, which came up with the Women's Charter. And basically, 9th August 1956, as part of what is called FETSO, which was the Federation of Women that came together who were representing different unions. They basically put down the rights that they wanted the government, the apartheid regime, to basically recognize them for equal rights for women, go against racial laws and the like. And cut a long story short, she is not remembered as one of the top 5. It is only these 4 that are remembered. How, this is so insulting because on the 60th anniversary of the 1956 Women's March, former President Jacob Zuma unveiled 4 statues of the 4 other women, and Diedrick was not one of them. And so
that is really an indictment on our history in terms of the freedom fighters. But I guess that it does, it doesn't justify the fact that she was forgotten for whatever reason. However, we also know that the municipal house, Brewster House in Port Elizabeth, was renamed the Lilian Diedrick Building in 2009. And also the Red Location Museum in New Brighton held a year-long exhibition dedicated to all of these women, including Diedrick's, the women of the liberation struggle. And tribute was also paid to Florence Matomela, Non Tutuzelo Mabala, Veronica Subukwe, Lilian Diedrick, of course, and Nosipho Daftile.
Right. So it's important to say that, has she been honored? Yes. Were there mistakes along the way? Yes. Could we therefore talk to some of these details? Certainly. So, for example, she did not want to be part of that march as a case, as the first thing that people need to know. She had a 1-year-old daughter at the time, and she was a single mother. So, when she was then instructed by her colleague, Florence Matomela, she then said, look, I will have to just abide and obey. And so people don't know these details because, when women become activists, and when that song is sung, Wathinta Bafazi, Wathinta Mbokodo, people are not aware that song was only written for the occasion of the march. It didn't exist before that occasion. And so, it's not the same when women are activists, human rights activists, political activists, and because, the role they play in a family setup, different to men, is quite dynamic. So, she went to the march, representing, of course, the trade union from Port Elizabeth. And she explained that even when the TRC requested her to come and talk because her other sister was killed, because the Special Branch thought they were going to kill her, but instead they killed her elder sister, Magdalene. She said she refused. She refused to go to the TRC. And basically she said, what is the point of saying these things if they're not going to wake her up? So she saw no point in it. You just said something very important. Bishop House in PE has now, which is basically the official office of the Premier, has been renamed after her. And in 2014, when the 5 women who contributed to the struggle, which I named, when they were basically honored and speeches were done after them, she would basically be recognized, yes, in that year-long ceremony they had at Red Location Museum in New Brighton. On August 2017, on Women's Day, again, they wanted to correct the wrong they did when they omitted her in 2016. And so President Jacob Zuma announced her statue. I'm yet to see that statue because I can't find it anywhere. And then in April 2018, President Cyril Ramaphosa honored her with the Order of Luthuli. It is said to be the highest order for advancing democracy. I argue different. I think what they gave to Helen Joseph is the highest order, which is the Isitalandi, right? But so we acknowledge that she has a form of acknowledgement. The other time you and I were talking, and you said, then what else? For example, when we think Helen Joseph, immediately we think of the hospital. When we think Rahima Musa,
Right.
immediately we think of the hospital, right?
Absolutely.
So what about with her? What? So to answer this question, I suppose it's important to say that she, besides these buildings and the roads, it's questionable how the ANC how they go about, particularly the ANC government, how they go about choosing, selectively how they, how they remember and confer and use heritage, to remember some of its powers. And, just so that I say this, so that it's clear, in the magazine that came out, the 70th anniversary edition of Drum magazine, which came out early this year, she is interviewed and she speaks for herself. A fully fledged picture of her is featured in the magazine. Why is this important? This is important because when you look at that picture of the women marching to the Union building, you see Helen Joseph, Lilian Diedrick, Rahima Musa, Sophie Dupré, but you don't see Mama Lilian Diedrick unless
Okay, Dr. Moloi, obviously I get your point, a very, very important oversight by the media and by government itself. We have to end it there, but we thank you once again for these gems of history that you share with us right here on Salam Media. So I guess it's till the new year, inshallah, when we'll talk again. Keep safe and assalamu alaikum to you.
Thank you very much, and season greetings to everybody.
8:40 exactly, and in a minute or two we'll be joined by Sat Cooper. We're going to be talking about Reconciliation Day.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends.